With me today is the most extreme production pickup truck on the planet Earth, and that is this brand new 2020 Ford F-150 Raptor. Now the Raptor is a modified F-150. It's wider, it's taller, it's faster, and it looks a whole lot better. These are flying from the showrooms, and Ford can't produce enough of them. So in this review, I'm going to tell you everything there is to know about this brand new Raptor, so you can decide if this is the right truck for you. Stay tuned. A big thanks to PackyWeb Ford for making this video possible. If you're in the market for a brand new or used Ford, definitely check out PackyWeb Ford in Downers Grove. Their URL is on the screen and in the description below. Let's start out by looking at the exterior to this Raptor, starting with the front end, which looks like a Baja Desert racing truck. It's bold, it's aggressive, it's in your face, and it looks like it wants to run you over. The Raptor is wide, very wide. In fact, it's over 6 inches wider than a normal F-150. It is so wide, in fact, it is mandated by law that the Raptor have 3 identification lamps, which is required for trucks over 80 inches wide. That's right, the Raptor is 86.3 inches without the mirrors, and close to 97 inches in width with mirrors. Fenders on each side bulge out to accumulate the massive 34.5-inch tires. The center grille is a signature for the Raptor and proudly displays Ford in large bold letters. The LED headlights also have a really unique design, and they have a cool amber accent light that's wrapped around the outside. The hood also has its own unique design as well. Moving to the side profile, the Raptor doesn't disappoint. What pops out right away are those huge all-terrain tires and the lift. The 17-inch aluminum wheels are wearing 315/70/17 tires, which is equivalent to about 34.5 inches. They are from BF Goodrich, the TA-KO2 all-terrain tires. The Raptor is about 3 inches taller than a normal F-150, and in 2019, Ford replaced the shocks with Fox internal bypass shocks that can adapt to the terrain in real time. Now, the back of the Raptor is fitted with dual exhaust tips. They have a matte black finish, and there's a giant Ford molding stamped onto the tailgate. As for the engine, there is only one option, and it's a good one. The engine is a twin-turbo 3.5 liter that is pushing 450 horsepower and 510 pound-feet of torque. This engine is also shared with the Ford GT supercar. Lastly, the Raptor is utilizing a 10-speed automatic transmission. Next, let's look at the different cabs and specifications for this brand new Raptor. There are 2 cabs for the Raptor, the Super Cab and Super Crew. Now what's interesting is the Raptor is the only configuration with the Super Cab that gets a 5.5 feet bed. All other F-150s with the Super Cab gets a longer 6.5 feet or 8 feet bed. Now the length is about 134 inches long, 86 inches wide, and the approach angle, ramp breakover angle, and ground clearance is significantly better than all other trims with the Raptor. Interesting to note though is the departure angle is actually less. Now moving on to the Super Crew, the length increases to 146 inches, which is 12 inches longer. All other dimensions are nearly identical. Let's take a look at the tailgate and bed next. The tailgate opens easily and has a really soft open so it doesn't just slam down. The tailgate also has an integrated step and handle for easy access into the bed, although due to the height of the Raptor, I find it still a bit difficult to step in. Now once out, putting the handle and the step back into the tailgate is a breeze, and I'm really surprised at how light the tailgate feels when closing. The tailgate can be opened up manually or by utilizing the key fob as you see here. Inside the bed, there's really not that much. Spray-in liner or bed liner is optional, and there is no built-in storage. You have some tie downs on the side as well as some in-bed lights. And in terms of the bed length, you only have one option, and that is 5.5 feet on the Raptor. Fun fact, the Raptor is so tall, I have to move my tripod from outside to within the cab to be able to shoot correctly, just FYI. Now with the Raptor, you can select one of two cab configurations. You can get Super Crew or Super Cab. Now Super Crew is absolutely enormous, and that's the one I'm reviewing today. You get a full set of doors and enormous amount of space. I'm 5'10", and there's a good, 10 to 12 inches of legroom left, and this is not even my driving position. My driving position is actually further up. So enormous amount of legroom. Same thing with headroom, probably 4 to 5 inches of headroom left. And because of how wide this Raptor is, you could definitely fit 3 adults here. No problems whatsoever. The seats are very, very wide and massive. But something that's weird is, those of you guys that are parents, you want to put car seats back here, you only get 2 sets of latches, one on each side. There's none in the middle, but it could certainly fit it. It is absolutely enormous. But besides that, in terms of comfort, it's very comfortable. Everything is covered in leather. It smells great. It feels great. The cushion feels really good. The only complaint about the cushion is it's kind of short. I wish it was a little bit longer, but there's a reason for that, because these do fold up, and I'll show you that in a little bit. Now, something that's really nice that I will show you is the floor is flat. So even if you move to the middle, right, there's no problem with your legs or feet elevated. That's not an issue, and that also helps with cargo, because once you fold up these seats, there's enormous space over here for sleeping, for furniture, for tools, for bikes, whatever you wanted to do back here, you can do it. It's an enormous amount of space, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit. Now, what about amenities? You get a whole lot. Starting with cup holders, 2 over here, 2 in the armrest, 1 in each door panel, so 6 cup holders in case you're super thirsty. Now, you do also get a pair of vents, 2 USB ports, you get a 12V outlet, and a regular household outlet. So, if you want to plug in, you can. That's not going to be a problem. Now, this giant panoramic sunroof that you see, this is optional, but it's definitely recommended because it is so massive. It lets so much air in, light in, just feels so much different back here with this open. And because of the way this is configured, this Raptor is configured, you also get heated seats back here, which is really nice in the winter. Overall, it is super, super massive and comfortable back here. Next, let me show you how to fold these seats up and what you get after you fold them up. So if you want to flip these seats up, very easy. There's a strap over here, simply pull on it and push up, and that's it. All right, with the seats folded up, this is what it looks like. Take a look. You just get enormous amount of space over here. One could definitely sleep over here. You throw a pillow, you curl up, away you go. But besides sleeping, you can put boxes, furniture, tools, whatever you could think of, it'll fit back here. It is absolutely enormous. The only complaint I have back here is there's no hidden storage. A lot of trucks these days, you see hidden storage underneath the seat because it utilizes this empty space, right? You do have this bar here, so you could somewhat put things over here, but it's not really intended for that purpose. There's no cover, there's no lock and key, nothing like that. So it's just really open space. But in terms of open space, you definitely get a lot of it. All right, so now I'm behind the steering wheel. Let's take a look at what the cabin looks like. It looks very similar to F-150, but with subtle changes that makes it look even better. Starting with the seats, take a look. It is very sporty, and They feel very good, at least right now. I'll tell you how they feel after I start driving. And of course, Raptor stitching over here. This is the standard seat that you get in a Raptor. There is optional Recaro seats that add a lot of blue accents in the middle. So that is something that you can upgrade to if you wanted. Now, moving on to the door panel, looks very similar to a F-150, although you do have some trim over there that's a little bit different. That is like a black metallic look, and you do have the aluminum surrounds. And moving to the dash, take a look. Very F-150 like, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you're still driving a truck, right? So you still want to be reminded that you're in a truck. So I have no problems with the dash looking similar. Now, of course, in the middle, you have a large infotainment screen, an 8-inch Sync 3 screen. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. And then you got climate control, media control, and of course, shifter, cup holders, a very, very, very large armrest. And then moving over here, you have a 7-inch gauge cluster and a very sporty looking and feeling steering wheel. Now let's start with the steering wheel. It actually has a really good thickness. I could tell right away that this is actually real leather. This is not pleather like a lot of manufacturers. They try to hide that fact. It feels very good, the right amount of thickness, and I really enjoy it. I think it looks pretty good overall. Of course, it looks like an F-150 steering wheel, but with subtle tweaks. Also, like this red stripe, I really like that. Now, in terms of the buttons, okay, very easy to understand. Over here, volume control. Over here, this is everything for the menu. I'm going to show you that a little bit. This is for all the cruise control settings. Now, this is where it gets interesting. Down here is phone control, but this is for your terrain select. And you can select a number of different terrain modes. For example, right now it's normal. And then you can go into, okay, it's shifting, but you could go in deep snow, sand. Then you can go into Baja. And then rock crawl. So it tells you to go into 4 low. Okay, and then let's see, slippery, 4x4 shift in progress. Then you can go into tow and haul, and then you can go into sport, and then finally you can go back to normal. So besides the modes, then you have this, and this changes your steering feel. Very interesting. You could go between normal, sport, and comfort. So I'm going to test out those and see if I feel a difference. So that is the steering wheel, all the buttons, and take a look. These huge paddle shifters in the back, these are not fake. They actually are magnesium, not even aluminum, magnesium. They feel great, and it's massive. It goes all the way from bottom to the top like a sports car. That is really cool. I'm going to test that out. All right, next, let's look at this, the gauge cluster with a huge 7-inch screen. This is what you can get with F-150, but there are things specific for the Raptor. So my view is kind of like favorites, and then you can go trip computer. This is for truck information, digital speedometer, TPMS, configure your gauges, measurements. Okay, this is for towing. If you're towing with this F-150, you can do a lot of things: status information, light check, trailer setup. And then if you go to off-road, this is where it's more specific to the Raptor. So in here, it'll tell you your suspension setup, your 4-wheel drive setup, your steering setup. It'll just tell you how you're configured right now. And if you go back, you could go to off-road status. This kind of shows you if you're on incline, decline, what your differential is set up. So there's a lot of cool stuff. Power distribution, it'll tell you, as the power is shifting forward and backward and side to side, it'll let you know. So there's some cool specific Raptor stuff on here, but overall, this is very easy to read. It's nice and bright. It's pretty easy to navigate through. Right here in terms of settings, some of the safety features that you get in a Raptor. Cross traffic alert is on, driver alert is on, rear park aid is on, trailer blind spot, since I don't have a trailer, I'm not turning that on. Pre-collision, basically auto braking, cruise control, adaptive cruise control, lane keep system, advanced settings. So there's a whole lot of safety features that you can turn on or off. So moving on to the side, you got a couple of switches here for the lights on the mirrors if you want to turn those on or off. This is for your high beam, low beam, dimmer switch. This is for electronic brake. This is actually for your electronic pedal. So if you're on a shorter side, taller side, and you want to move the pedal back or forward, you can actually do so with this. This is really cool. You don't see this in a lot of cars. Over here, you got some presets, and over here, you do have window control and mirror control. Next, let's talk about infotainment, and this is powered by Sync 3. It's pretty easy to understand, pretty responsive. It's laggy at times, but overall it works pretty well. You can see how it's divided up, certain categories: audio, climate, phone, navigation, apps, settings. Now climate you could control through the touchscreen or down there. I'm going to show you that in a little bit. In terms of apps, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, those are standard, so that's not going to be an issue. Now, in terms of what's up here, you get a whole lot of stuff. Engine auto start stop. This is something that I normally turn off. This is where your engine shuts off at a stoplight, and I don't like that because there's a lag. Over here, this is your camera. Just like if you went into reverse, this is what's behind you, and a 360 view of your truck, along with all the sensors. With a truck this big, you want all the safety features you could get. So you do have a camera system all around you, so you know if something's next to you, and you got sensors all around the truck to tell you, it'll beep at you if something's around you, and of course you can see what's behind you, which is really nice. Now hazard light, this is traction control on and off. Now this is cool. This is called trail control. So if I press that and take a look at the gauge cluster, it'll say trail control enabled. Use set button to set speed. So basically it's like cruise control for rock climbing. Whether or not you're going up a steep hill with a lot of rocks or down with a lot of rocks or even no rocks, basically it sets a low cruise control speed. So all you have to worry about is the steering and not so much the throttle anymore. So that's what that's about. That's pretty cool. Now down here, you got a big volume knob, tune knob too. This looks kind of outdated, archaic. I can't remember the last time I seen presets for radio on a car, truck, or SUV, but it is there. Now moving on down here, climate control. This is pretty standard. You can control things manually. You got dual climate control, going up or down. You know, just turn it. Pretty easy. Now, you do get ventilated seats and heated seats. It really depends on what package you select. So at the beginning of the video, I told you about a few packages. Depending on which one you have, you'll get either heated seats or both. Now, over here, this is, of course, how you control between two-wheel drive, four-wheel drive. You get high and low, and depending on what you select, then you can have different terrain modes, and you can also do locking. So if you want to lock your rear differential, you could do that as well, but you can't do that in two-wheel drive. Now this is for a trailer, so if you're trying to haul something and you want to connect a trailer, this is a camera system that's meant for that. Kind of cool. Now over here, you just get a whole bunch of space. So you open that up, you get two USB ports and just space for whatever. And you get two cup holders. Now you got a normal shifter, kind of simple looking, but you do get manual mode. So once you put in manual mode, you can shift utilizing these buttons over here, or of course the paddle shifter. So that's probably preferred method. I'm going to test that out. And this is for your lane keep system, whether you want to turn that on or off. Now, this armrest I talked about, it is absolutely massive. It is actually so massive and so wide, I was able to sit on this no problem. So, it kind of gives you an example of how wide it is. Now, inside, it doesn't disappoint. So you get a tray that you can slide forward and backwards, and you get just so much space. I mean, it is so much space down there. You could fit, I don't know, gallons of stuff. You could put 2-liter bottles, you could put laptops, you could put tools, anything. It is just enormous amount of space, and of course you do get a 12V outlet. So yeah, you can fit whatever you want in there. There you go. Now moving on top, you got a lot of buttons here for lights and a panoramic sunroof, which is optional, but in my opinion, definitely worth it. It is absolutely huge, lets so much light in. I really enjoy it. Here's some home link buttons for your garage, and you got a whole bunch of auxiliary switches here. They serve no purpose right now, but if you want to get off-road lights or anything that is not part of the standard Raptor, you can hook it up. So it's really cool that you get a set of aux switches. Oh, and finally over here, take a look. You get another 12V outlet and a normal household plug. And this goes up to 400 watts max. So obviously this is for tools. If you have some power tools that you want to plug in or charge, you could do so right up here. All right, it's time to go for a drive. Let's see how this Raptor behaves on the roads. The first impression is how tall and wide this Raptor is. Unless you're super, super tall, you're gonna have to use the side step to get in. And once you're in, man, you're sitting really, really up high. You get a really, really commanding view of the road, which is good, which is what people like in a Raptor. It makes you feel like you're above everyone else, like you're a king or something. But you definitely do feel that. However, getting in and out can be a challenge depending on how tall you are. And in terms of width, man, this is a wide truck. I've driven trucks, SUVs, the ones that are fairly large. Nothing compares to how wide and long this Raptor is. So I could definitely feel it inside. Inside feels like an apartment. It is absolutely huge. Besides how tall and wide a Raptor is, one thing that's really surprising is how quiet it is in here. This Raptor is very, very, very insulated. Very insulated indeed. So besides the engine and the exhaust, which if I give it some gas I can hear, but you know, no wind noise, no tire noise. I mean, these are huge, huge 35-inch all-terrain tires. I don't hear them at all. So there's definitely a lot of insulation, but when you put the foot down, you can still hear the exhaust, which is not a bad thing. Because of how high you sit, there's really no problem with visibility. There is no blind spot anywhere. The rear windows are huge. The back window, nice and big. The middle headrest does not block the view at all. So right now, I feel like I'm, on top of the world. Like I feel like I'm sitting like 10 feet in the air where I could see everything around me. And just in case I could turn on the camera system and check out what's underneath me too. So right now, visibility is definitely really good in here. I'm in four-wheel drive automatic right now. I have a little bit of room. I'm gonna see how 0 to 60 is and see. Whoa! That was pretty fast. Way faster than a truck should be going. Oh, the exhaust note is actually pretty good. A lot of people complain because this is not a V8, this is a V6, EcoBoost V6, but it's pushing 450 horsepower. 0 to 60 in this thing is 5.1 seconds. This thing gets up to speed tremendously quick for the size. So in terms of passing, definitely not a problem getting up to speed. Definitely not a problem. And that was in four-wheel drive. So I'm going to try it again. If I have room, try it in two-wheel drive and see if it's any different. And also do manual shifting. And let's see how that is. All right. So now I'll be able to accelerate a little bit. Try to get up to 60 once again. I have set the Raptor to two-wheel drive and also in manual. So I'm going to test out these paddle shifters and see how it is. Oh yeah. It is very, very fast. This Raptor is very fast. In manual shifting, you go through the gears really, really quickly. Now, I didn't really floor it until I got into second gear. But man, yeah, this 0 to 60 in 5.1, I definitely believe it. It is really, really quick in here. Now that I changed steering to sport, it doesn't feel any heavier. By default, I think the steering in the Raptor is pretty good. You would figure that it would be very heavy, but no. It's obviously power assisted. It actually feels pretty normal, like driving a normal SUV. That's kind of the feel you get. I like the steering mostly because of the steering wheel. The thickness is right, and it feels nice and soft, and this leather feels really good. I really like the steering wheel a lot, but overall in terms of steering feel, it feels normal, like right in between. I feel like when you're coming to a stop or slow down, this 10-speed transmission keeps shifting through the gears. You know, sometimes it's trying to find the right gear, trying to maximize fuel economy. So there are times when you're going at low speeds, it actually feels pretty bogged down in here. Yeah, see, like when you put the foot down, the acceleration is so fierce. It just comes in. But when you're just like kind of cruising at 40 miles per hour, you know, the transmission is kind of just like hunting for gears, trying to be in the right gear, and it's kind of annoying at times. Suspension is not as smooth as I thought it was going to be. Obviously, because of these new Fox shocks and so much suspension travel and the thick tires, you know, I read a lot about how the Raptor was super smooth. It was like driving, you know, while sitting on a cloud. You know, I thought it would be super smooth. No, I still feel a lot of bumps. I do feel some rattles from just the overall body, more so than I was expecting. It's not bad, don't get me wrong, it's not bad at all, but I do feel a lot just even driving on normal roads. So as for pricing, the very base Raptor comes in right around $55,000, and that includes the Super Cab configuration. Now, if you wanted the Super Crew cab configuration, that'll be additional roughly around $3,000. Now, for 2020 model year, basically the only difference compared to the 2019 is the paint. There are a few additional paint configurations that you can choose from, but that's pretty much it for 2020. Now, what's important is the packages. There are basically 3 important packages that you can choose from. Now, if you wanted a base Raptor without a lot of the luxury features that I'll be showing you in this review video, then you would select the 800A package, and this pretty much comes with just the essentials: the powerful engine, the suspension setup, the interior cabin, and the cloth seats. However, if you want to add some comfort to your Raptor, then you can move up to the 801A. Now this is around $3,800. It adds power seats, heated seats as well for both the driver and passenger. You get leather throughout the cabin. You get power adjustable pedals, and also a power sliding rear window with privacy tint and defrost. Now, moving up to the 802A luxury package, this is what most Raptors are configured with. And as you can see, the price jumps up significantly, almost $11,000, and that's because it adds so much to the Raptor. This pretty much fully loads your Raptor. You get a 410 front axle with torsion differential. You get 10-way power driver passenger seats with heat and memory, 360 camera, Bang & Olufsen premium audio system. But if you click here, take a look. This is how much more you get with the 802A package. There is definitely a lot that's added in here. The tailgate plaque that says Ford. You do get advanced security pack, which is for security. You get blind spot information with cross traffic alert, trailer tow monitoring. You get the dual climate zone, Ford Pass Connect, heated steering wheel, inflatable rear safety belts on the Super Crew only, integrated trailer brake control, LED box lighting, and it goes on and on and on and on. As you can see, this is the one to get because it adds so much, which is why this costs $11,000. And most dealerships configure their Raptors with this 802A package because this pretty much fully loads your Raptor. Now, there are additional options that are still not included with this. such as the panoramic sunroof. That is additional optional feature. You can opt for Recaro seats with blue accents. So there are other things that you can get. Now, with all that said, if you do configure a Raptor with the 802A package without anything else I've mentioned, it's coming in right around $68,700. But a fully configured one with a lot of options can come in the 70s, mid to high 70s. The one that I'm testing today is coming in right around $70,000. Next, let's talk about the good and bad to this brand new Raptor. Starting with the good, bar none, it's the best looking truck on the planet Earth. The suspension, tires, and terrain modes makes it so that you can pretty much go anywhere. It has apartment-like interior space. The Raptor has a remote tailgate with a step that's integrated. Raptor definitely gives you a very commanding drive. And lastly, it's fast. Very, very fast for a half-ton pickup truck. As for the bad, there's a few. The 10-speed automatic continuously hunts for gears at low speeds. The fuel economy isn't the greatest. There is no tool storage or hidden storage in the bed or the cabin. There are slight suspension and body rattles that could be felt. The towing and payload is less than non-Raptor trims. Finally, the Raptor is pricey, especially with the 802A package and options. Overall, the Raptor isn't for everyone, but for those that are looking for the most extreme truck on this planet that can pretty much go anywhere and out-accelerate anyone on the road, then this might be the right truck for you. I'm ranking the Raptor with a score of 110, and if you want to see how this Raptor compares to its peers, then check out driversonlyrankings.com. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe to the channel, and make sure you check out some of these other videos.